So this evening, I am going to replay episode 7 of The Big Picture. The reason I'm doing that is because I need to be able to have access to it so I can upload it onto Bitchute so that we can have all the episodes of The Big Picture over on Bitchute. Um, I'm going to do episode 7 tonight, and then later on, either maybe tomorrow night or Thursday night, I'll end up doing episode 1. That one's 3 hours, so I got to allow enough time to do that. So I'm going to start the episode. Please forgive me if you hear my dogs barking. Hopefully, they won't be yakking too much. I got one right now that doesn't want to shut up. So hopefully, it won't interfere with the video. So let me reverse the camera, start the episode, and hope you guys enjoy it. I've got my other computer over here, and while I do some errands and stuff around the house while this is playing, I'll try to come in here and check on the chat to see what's going on there. So let me go ahead and start episode 7. I think we aired this September 3rd. So anyway, it is a part 1 of the 16-year plan to destroy America. Part 2 is already on BitChute. But this one hasn't gotten there yet, so that's what I'm doing tonight. So let me go ahead and switch the camera and go in a little bit more, and let's hit play.
You're on the Six Screens Telenetwork, earning the reputation of getting all the right ingredients, uninhibited, in exposing the hard, cold facts about the Watchtower Society. And now, Disney.
Well, we're looking so forward to tonight's program. We're really glad you guys could come in and want to be on Jimmy Bell's program. Now, don't you be a stranger. Listen in. We had some sound issues in the beginning, but we're going to get this all straightened out. Jimmy's program up next, right here on the Six Screens Telenetwork. And stop! What are you going to do for you? And what are you going to do for your country? What you can do for your country. Your country. Your country. Well, hello everyone, and welcome in to our Six Screens premiere program for tonight, The Big Picture with Jimmy Bell. Hello, Jimmy.
Hey, good evening, Rick. How are you, sir?
Well, tonight's a good night. I've been looking forward to your program here all week. I know it's going to be a good one. I'll tell you what, we're getting a lot of listeners tonight, so we'll make sure that people don't speak up during your program here so you can get all the information out. But anyways, I'm going to drop out, and I'm going to bring on Laurie, and I'm going to bring on Laurel. Tracy's not going to be with us tonight, so let's bring the two girls on. There they are, and they're smiling. It looks like they got a lot. It looks like they got a lot of research done, Jimmy. It looks like they got a lot of stuff to share with us tonight.
Yes, we definitely have quite a bit of stuff to share this evening, so I'll go ahead and tell the viewers now, if you do not have a pen and a notepad, you might want to go get one, because there's going to be a lot of information that we present this evening that we definitely want you to follow up with your own research.
All righty, well, I'm going to drop out of the scene, but I'll be here if you need me, Jimmy.
All right, Rick, you got all the clips ready?
I got all the clips.
Okay.
Now, on Rumble, they do it a little different than YouTube. A couple of them, the numbers came through, but a couple didn't. But just tell me the content of what it's about.
Okay.
And I can do that, okay?
Okay, all right, sounds good.
All right, good.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to The Big Picture. This is where fearless minds prevail. And I just want to start off this evening thanking the audience for your comments. Thank you for joining our Facebook group The Big Picture. If you haven't signed up for that yet, just type in The Big Picture on Facebook. and you can get inside of our group there. One reason I did that is I put all of our episodes that we've done on that page, and plus I've added a few roundtable videos that John and Diasis and I have currently done this year on political stuff. So yeah, just go to the Facebook page and you can find us there. A lot of folks are saying they're having a hard time finding episode 2. Well, that was the one that YouTube didn't want us to have up in the public. So, but it is on the Facebook page. So I just want to go ahead and let you guys know that. So another thing I want to let you guys know is, I don't want anyone to take my word for anything. This is the research that I've done, Lori's done, Laurel's done. We've spent a lot of time doing a bunch of research. And what we're doing is we're bringing our research to you. We're not telling you what to believe. This is why I asked you to get a pen and a notepad, because I want you to make notes of these things and then go back and look it up for yourself. Because that's the only way. And you can't wake anybody up these days. You have to be able to give them the information, and they have to be willing to go look for it. So for those that don't know me, and this might be the first time you've watched The Big Picture, stick around. And because there's a lot of good information we're going to bring tonight, a lot of stuff you guys aren't really going to probably know about. But the reason why I did this is because when I woke up from Watchtower, I hated the fact that I was lied to for 40 years. And so I did my Watchtower activism. We did all that, took some time away, and then I ended up going down the political road. And there was a lot of stuff I was asking myself, why am I going down this political road? And then it dawned on me after I made the connection that Watchtower is just a propaganda arm of the globalists, that I need to learn this stuff so I can take it back to the XJW community to help educate folks, help them see a big picture of everything. And that's the reason why I said that, we wanted to, put a frame together to give you an idea of what we're going to be talking about on this show. We did that in episode 1 with the political stuff. The last 5 episodes we've done, we've linked Watchtower with the deep state. So tonight, we're going to grab all the pieces that have the same color, and we're going to work on another corner this evening, and it's going to be mainly the political stuff. And there's a reason why this is so important. You may think that maybe you're living in UK or Australia or Canada, and you might not think that, a plan to destroy America in 16 years, that doesn't affect me. Well, I'm here to tell you it does. Because if we go back to what Ronald Reagan said, if America falls, where else are we going to go to? America is the last stand for a constitutional republic that is backed by we the people. So we're going to get into this, and we're going to explain a few things tonight. Ladies, did y'all have any opening comments?
Just hi, everybody. Good to be here.
Hi.
Well,
no, I'm just trying to keep my mind, my wheels turning with all the stuff we've been looking into this week.
I'm going to tell y'all have no clue how much time we've spent on researching this week, because that's another thing I want to be able to do. I want to be able to bring information to the public that is verifiable, it's facts, you can look it up. And if we go to an area where we're speculating about things, we will preface it and say, hey, we're speculating about this. Okay? But I'll only do that when we do speculation. But for the most part, everything we do, we try to back it up in facts. And so far, this is our 7th episode. We haven't had anybody come to us and say, oh, Jimmy, you're way off on this, or guys, you're way off on that. Now, I do welcome that. So if I bring anything out and you find something different about it, let me know. Let's talk about it. Okay? So, all right. So one thing that we're going to go ahead and get into the content tonight, and we're going to have to go back and do some historical stuff. We're going to have to go back in time a little bit and find out why certain things have happened. And so we're going to go ahead and do that. First thing I want to read is this. All right. and then I'll get into a clip. But sacred bloodlines make up the pyramid of the Cabal Illuminati. They are the main puppet masters. The Rothschilds scammed the world with a fake fiat central banking system using debt and usury. This is how they keep us in slavery. It is rumored that they own the Federal Reserve. Well, I would think that's not a rumor anymore, but anyway. This is a privately owned bank, and yet is accepted in America as a normal government entity. They're also connected to the Vatican through long-standing loan debts. The Rockefellers control the oil and the pipelines. The Morgans control the gold. These names make up the top three of the pyramid. Peter Wallenberg and his brother Jacob Wallenberg are above them on the pyramid, and the all-seeing eye, as they're saying at the top, is Queen Elizabeth. The next part of the pyramid was the House of Saud, including Prince Alawid bin Talib. House of Saud, whose family originated in Jewish roots, was involved in a major sex trafficking and connection around big tech. Their corrupt connections were cut in 2017 when Prince Mohammed bin Salman took over the throne. Some Saudi royal members, like Alawid, were heavily involved. Dr. Khalid al-Mansour and Al-Alid were responsible for Barack Obama's Harvard education through HUMA, Harvard University Muslim Alliance, and his connections put him and Obama's former senior advisor, Valerie Jarrett, in the White House. George Soros and his organizations, Open Society, are also connected through the Clinton Foundation. Comes next with funding organizations responsible for supporting the cabal's agenda. He funds the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists and fake news. Connections such as all the Dominion Smartmatic voting machines, Pharma/vaccines, DLA Piper, Perkins Coie, Loop Capital, CrowdStrike, Fusion GPS, Microsoft, Red Cross, Red Org, BLM, Antifa, Big Tech in Silicon Valley, Big Oil, Muslim Brotherhood, MS-13, ISIS, climate change funding, and many others. He is responsible for Hillary Clinton's placement as Secretary of State. This top part of the pyramid is also connected throughout the world. This is why I say, folks, this all ties together, and everyone's affected. Starting in the UK with the royal family, it then branches out through Europe and the United States and North America, Europe, Asia, Australia, South America, and Africa. The Cabal Deep State is also heavily embedded in UK, Israel, US, China, Russia, Ukraine, North Korea, Iran, Pakistan, and other areas. These heavily embedded areas include connections to intelligence agencies in each of these regions. A few examples are the CIA, Mossad, M16, and MI6, and Russian intelligence. A percentage of agencies are involved with using sexual blackmail, Jeffrey Epstein, to help the cabal control governments around the world. They spy on everyone, which means they have dirt on everyone. So that is the opening for this evening, and there's a reason why I did that. We're still going to go down the historical path here. But, in there it mentions, we've all heard about secret societies, and they do exist. And so, Rick, do we have clip one on secret societies?
Yeah, just give me a second here, Jimmy, Rumble does it a little bit differently, but let me just see what we got here. Let's see, JFK, they don't number it. It doesn't show it here on the numbers on the message for some reason, but just bear with me for a second here. We got the 16-year plan. We've got General Flynn. We've got revised plan to destroy America.
Keep going.
We've got, is it on Twitter maybe? We've got a Twitter clip that you sent me.
It's not, let me go back to it, Rick. Sorry, y'all.
Yeah, it's just, go ahead and play
It's
it.
the JFK one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the JFK.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I got the JFK one. Yeah, there's no number, but I'll go JFK. Let's listen in.
It says JFK speech on secret societies.
All right, let me just do this, Jimmy. Just give me 1 second. I'm gonna try to get it up. I'm gonna try to get it up here for us. So I have to share my screen. So just give us a second to do that. So rather than just hear it, I want people to see it as well. So let's do that. Let me select the tab that it's in. All right. So that. Come on.
So when you listen to this, listen to the words that he says. Listen for the words monolithic means, infiltration instead of invasion, and listen to what he told the people.
All right, let's do it. Jimmy, I have to tell you, there's a real serious problem here with with
There it is.
It's up. Where's the
It's up?
sound? Yeah,
It's
I
up?
don't hear the sound though.
Oh, well, hold on 1 second. They got all kinds of ads popping up here on us.
I tell you what, if
Yeah.
you have a problem, Rick, I can just play it from my phone and just put
Well,
it
go ahead and play it. The rumble is not coming through. This is the first time we tried to do it, but it's just not coming through. Your StreamYard is giving me some issues on it.
Okay.
So let me give it one more shot here, and let's see why that's not playing. Let me just see if I can play it. Well, hold on 1 second. Well, now it seems to just. It's just a new adventure here for us with Rumble. They're doing things a little bit different. Well, let's see if we can't. Just give us a second, folks.
Rumble might be down because I'm trying to pull it up on my phone
and figure this thing out. But let's just stop
here.
here.
Sorry, y'all.
All right. Well,
It's really strange with the internet tonight.
Well, we'll get it here. Just give us one.
Yeah, I'm trying to play it on my phone and it's not wanting to play.
Yeah, when we come out Rumble like that. Let me just sorry folks for the little bit of inconvenience here. When you're doing stuff live, it becomes a little more difficult. Why it's just trying to get a sound on it. I can't get the sound. Can't get the sound on. I mean, I'm doing everything I can, but it's not allowing me to. It might be StreamYard or what, I'm not sure. Can you play it on your side, Jimmy?
Actually, no. I think something's wrong with Rumble. Here we go. Okay.
In a free and open society. And we are as
All right, Rick, I'll just play it on my side.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, Jimmy. I just can't get it.
Okay, all right.
the very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret society, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed. That is why the Athenian lawmaker Solon decreed it a crime for any citizen to shrink from controversy. But I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people, confident that with your help, man will be...
Okay. All right, so in that clip, what were the two things that struck you the most out of that clip, Laurel?
Me?
Yeah.
The fact that back in 1961, when that was done, he was already, well, if you go back into and you know the history of John Kennedy, you know that his father was very much involved in the cabal. He was a mob boss. And it just, also, what I'll say about that is after I had already woken up from Watchtower, and I already was aware that Watchtower was a secret society, I found that clip, and that was what really sent me into looking into the political stuff, because I thought, holy crap, this trying to silence people, everything in there was, it can go either way. It can be politically, which they're trying to do now, or it at the time when I watched it, I took it to a lot to mean what Watchtower does to us. But secret societies, and it's one of the reasons he got murdered.
Yes, absolutely. Laurel, any comment on that?
I agree. The fact that he said that it had to be revamped and he needed our help, that said it all.
Exactly. Now, pay attention, folks, because there's a reason why we're doing this and presenting it this way. Rick, the clip that was number 2, Splinter the CIA in 1,000 Pieces, that was a YouTube clip. Can that one be played? I hope so, because it's like 3 minutes and my arm will get tired. But I'll do it. I'll hold it up. Rick, you there? Okay, so we don't have Rick at the moment. So I'll just go ahead and play the second clip. Clip number 2, titled Splinter the CIA into 1,000 Pieces, because that's what JFK said.
It's a reference to JFK when he said he wanted to splinter the CIA into 1,000 pieces after the Bay of Pigs fiasco.
And that could have been his beginning of the end, by the way.
Undoubtedly. For those of us that believe in conspiracy around the Kennedy assassination, there were many factors.
Yes.
And certainly the CIA would be a player that you cannot discount their involvement, even especially when E. Howard Hunt, the famous CIA agent on his deathbed, did say he was in Dallas and that there was a conspiracy.
There was a conspiracy. He told his son that.
Yes. So Kennedy going after the CIA, he understood that, as Truman actually had likewise thereafter said, that it was an American Gestapo had been created, essentially this organization that was not really designed to serve American interests necessarily. It was designed to serve an oligarchy. That's why some of the CIA directors over the years are former Wall Street bankers or lawyers, right? They're tied to a financial elite.
And the one who was there during Kennedy's administration was Allen Dulles.
At the beginning.
And they hated each other.
Yes, so Kennedy gave him the medal and then got rid of him. Yeah. So he felt that the CIA was something that was Dulles' creation and had Dulles' personnel, and Kennedy did not trust it. He really wanted to shift the power to his direct military, because the president constitutionally is in charge of the military. So he wanted to basically get the CIA and all covert operations really more into special forces and joint chiefs of staff and the military side of things. So the documentary 1,000 Pieces is not about Kennedy per se. It's about the deep state that many people have talked about over the years. We have few whistleblowers. I just narrated the documentary. I didn't, really direct it. I just gave my voice to it. But we have whistleblowers like Kathy O'Brien, Robert David Steele, John D'Souza, and Joe Flynn, Michael Flynn's brother, and Robin Gritz. 5 whistleblowers who basically are telling us how the deep state is permanent. It's like, you think about it like this. It's a bureaucracy that is in Washington that doesn't really matter if you're Republican or Democrat. Most of these people are not even elected officials, right? They're the Kissingers of the world,
exactly.
Right? They're the people that are there no matter who's in charge, and they're influencing the political agenda.
Behind-the-scene power brokers.
Correct. And then sometimes they're right in front of you, like James Comey or people like this, who you can see.
Right under your nose.
Right in front of you, but they're not elected. And they're simply moved from position to position, and they influence regimes, administrations as they come and go. Because as they say, the president is, you're a 4 to 8 year deal, and then, you're just the CEO of the company for a few years. But the company, the corporation itself, the policies stay the same. I think that's changing, though. I think people are starting to realize that the Oz, the Wizard of Oz, is that scrawny little man that really only has a big megaphone and no power.
And he's behind the curtain.
Yeah, hiding with his megaphone, just blasting, using that big voice, that megaphone of the media to tell people what to think. I don't think that we as a humanity are going to be under that spell much longer. I think we are waking.
And I would have to say I totally agree with that, dude. I believe that there is a huge awakening going on. And it's really important that you listen to what that gentleman said and compare it with the clip of what JFK said. They mirror each other. And then we can look and see what's going on in the world today. And it's like, whoa, okay, that all matches up. I mean, even on JW World News tonight, I heard one of the callers talk about Watchtower as a Gestapo. That was on there. I heard another caller say that the Watchtower is just doing what the government wants them to do. I heard that said too. So I can see that there's a lot of people waking up. Now, let me tell you the reason why I wanted to play the clip of JFK and talk about secret societies, because I want to give you a little history lesson. I'm going to fly through this, and I hope folks can understand it. But we could go back many, many years, but we're only going to go back to the 60s. And the thing with JFK is JFK had the goods on the deep state globalists. He knew who they were. That's why he said what he said. Now, because of that, that's why he got a bullet in his head, because they didn't want him letting the world know and trying to recruit people into a truth moment, if you want to call it that, back then. Because as the other guy said, they like to work behind the curtains where the people don't know them. You know, we had a certain president say the invisible enemy. Can you see what we're talking about there? All right. So Bush is, or one of the things about George Bush Sr. is he was a high-level operative in the CIA, and he was in Dallas the day JFK was taken out. Now, why is that important? Because it goes back to his daddy, Prescott Bush, who was high up in the oil industry, and Prescott Bush and Walt Disney, they worked in cahoots to fund Hitler. Okay, look it up, write it down. So, after JFK was taken out, we had Lyndon B. Johnson come in, and Lyndon B. Johnson instituted so many social programs into our country that it really started affecting the economic side of America. And then, of course, in 1971, we come off the gold standard, which was part of their plan anyway. Now, when Carter came in, Carter didn't do much with his 4 years. He was a likable guy, though. So in 1980, the deep state had a decision. They knew that Carter's numbers were down, but they needed somebody with charisma to kind of, combat his likability. So they chose Reagan. Now, Reagan, interestingly enough, did not want George Bush as his vice president. I think Reagan knew some stuff back then. So he didn't want George Bush as his vice president. So the deep state said, okay, well, we'll give you Gerald Ford. He was a president, and he'd be like a co-person. But anyway, as history shows, Reagan lost that battle, and George Bush was made his vice president. And then not so long in office, there was an assassination attempt on Reagan's life. So what would that have done? Who would that have put in power? We all know that it would have been George Bush, the high operative of the CIA back during the JFK assassination. So for 8 years, I believe that the deep state's plan was thrown off a little bit. They still did some things that they tried to do. They tried to accomplish a few things. But then in 1988, when George Bush finally took office, that's when you heard him as the first president that I know of that ever mentioned the New World Order. He mentioned that. Now, let's fast forward to President Clinton. Clinton was actually a secret protege of George Bush Sr. They worked together. Like the one gentleman said in the other clip, it didn't matter whether they were Republican or Democrat. They were going to do what was best in their interest, not the people's interest. So Clinton came in, did what he did. Then the stage was set for the year 2000. Now, what they try to do is they try to put a Democrat in, put a Republican, put a Democrat in, whatever, alternate it to give the people the illusion of choice. But they already know who they want in there. Now, because they had planned 9/11 before the 2000 election, that's why we had the issue with Gore and Bush in Florida, because the deep state was fighting amongst themselves, trying to figure out, okay, do we really want to pin this on Gore or do we want to pin this on W? And so they chose to put it on W. And then W comes in, and then the next thing you know, after 9/11 happens, there's more to that story, but after 9/11 happens, then we have the Patriot Act put into place, which is a complete violation of the Fourth Amendment. Go look up the Fourth Amendment, read what it says, and compare it with the language in the Patriot Act. So, of course, Bush was a warmonger. And so the 2007 rolls around, we have the primaries, Obama is introduced into the public. And if you notice, a lot of the TV programs in 2005, 6, 7, a lot of the movies that came out that were politically genred and they had presidents in them, the presidents were usually black. So what they were doing is they were preparing the minds of the people that it was time to have a black president. And so we know how the deep state works. We know they use race to divide people. So they seen this as an opportunity to make their final push for their New World Order or the Great Reset. And they were going to use it with Obama. Now, before we go into what the 16-year plan and what all that consisted of and how they did this push, Rick, are you there?
I'm right here, yes.
Can you play the clip from 1958? That gentleman that it's titled 1958, The Plan 10 Steps. Are you able to play that one?
Hold on 1 second. We've got, I mean, it's not like YouTube. I'll tell you, on YouTube, you sent me a YouTube clip beyond belief. I've got a Twitter clip that is Destroy America.
Play that one.
Destroy America. Okay, let's play it. Okay, let me just do this. Let me pump it up here so people can see it, and they'll be able to hear it. So just hold 1 second, and we'll get it up here so you guys can see it.
Does it have a black, Rick? Does it have a black and white thumbnail?
Yes.
Okay, that should be it.
All right. So let's go with that one. Let's go with that one. Boy, I'll tell you. Just give me a second, Jimmy. It just takes a few seconds here. There's a lot of technical stuff you got to go through here. But let's get it up, and let's get it in here.
Now, folks, the reason I want this clip to play is because this is from 1958. And listen to the 10 things that this guy lines out. Listen carefully.
For the United States. 1. Greatly expanded government spending for every conceivable means of getting rid of ever larger sums of American money as wastefully as possible. 2. Higher and much higher taxes. 3. An increasingly unbalanced budget despite the higher taxes. 4. Wild inflation of our currency. 5. Government controls of prices, wages, and materials, supposedly to combat inflation. 6. Greatly increased socialistic control over every operation of our economy and every activity of our daily lives. This is to be accompanied naturally and automatically by a correspondingly huge increase in the size of our bureaucracy and in both the cost and reach of our domestic government. 7. Far more centralization of power in Washington and the practical elimination of our state lines. There is a many-faceted drive at work to have our state lines eventually be no more within the nation than our county lines do now within the states. 8. The steady advance of federating to and control over our educational system, leading to the complete federalization of our public education. 9. A constant hammering into the American consciousness of the horror of modern warfare. The view is that the absolute necessity of peace. Peace always on communist terms, of course. And 10, the consequent willingness of the American people to allow the steps of appeasement by our government, which amount to a piecemeal surrender of the rest of the free world and of the United States itself. So brush the insider's dust out of your eyes, my friends, and the communist soap suds out of your brain.
Okay. All right. So that was from 1958. It was an insider's look on their plan to destroy America back then. Now, I know the audio might have sounded a little garbled a little bit. So we did list the 10 things that this gentleman talked about in 1958. Okay. So the first thing was expand government spending. Oh, I don't think I even have to explain that. People can see that every day. Laurel, did you raise your hand?
No.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I thought you did. 2 was higher taxes. Again, do I need to explain that to anyone?
Hey, Jimmy, I'm just going to hold on 1 second here. We do have an issue here. Just take about a 2-minute break. What happens is our telephone line does shut off after 6 hours, so we have been on. So just bear with us, Jimmy, okay?
Okay.
Give us 2 minutes. That's what we have to do. I mean, what goes on, it's the same. It happens during your program. But
into the live 6 screens conference
so
call.
let's just let it go. And
We thank you for
this
joining
happens. We've got, we're doing live, and what it is in a conference call, people calling in, they shut the phone off every 6 hours. I don't know why they do it. I'm trying to get them not to do it, but they do it. But Jimmy, so far the program is really good. I do have the clips. I don't know why they do it. I'm trying to get
Programs tonight.
from Rumble.
You will now be placed into the conference.
All right, hold on. We'll be placed in the conference here very shortly. Then we'll get right back to your program. Sorry, Jimmy.
Please
It's okay.
be joined into the conference. Your Your input is invalid. You entered 2299.
1 second.
Thank you. Sarah, please enter your PIN followed by the pound or. Thank you. The recording has started.
Okay, Jimmy, we got the recording started now, so we're all set to go. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to recap because I just looked at a comment on the live chat for YouTube, and it was from Gabby Shut Up. She said, "What's that John Birch guy barking about?" So Gabby, let me tell you what that John Birch guy was barking about. They were listing the 10 ways to destroy America back in 1958. And the 10 things that were mentioned were expand government spending, 2, higher taxes, 3, unbalanced budget despite higher taxes. So think about here in the United States. I can only speak for the United States because I don't know about the other nations right now. But you can see the debt of America is just rising and rising and rising and rising. But yet we're still paying higher taxes. So if we're sending in more money, then why is that debt ballooning? So this was a plan of theirs. 4, wild inflation. Again, something we see today and we've seen throughout the years, especially in the 70s. 5, government control of prices, wages, and materials. Number 6, greatly increased socialistic constraints on our lives. Let's think about the last 2.5 years. I won't even talk about it, but let's think about socialistic control of our lives. Centralization of power, no state borders. So this is one thing that the deep state, that he said back in 1958, but we can correlate it with what we know the deep state globalists want, the World Economic Forum. They want a world where there's no borders anywhere. We'll get into more of that a little bit later. 8, control of education. 9, horror of modern warfare. They got to make sure that they have the warfare out there because they want to scare people. So they put that in the minds of people. 10, willingness of appeasement. They want the population just to give up. Just because we're tired of all this stuff going on. I don't want to deal with this anymore. So please, Mr. Government, take care of me. I will own nothing and be happy because that's your wish. This is what they wanted. This is what they talked about in 1958. So you have to understand their system so you know how to fight it, you know how to, and how to remove it. And so we're still going to get into that. So that was their plan. Laurel or Lori, what do y'all want to talk about that, those 10 things? Any of them?
You can go first this time, Lori.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing. What did you ask?
Oh,
I said, did you want to say anything about the 10 plans that they talked about in 1958?
I just think that it's been going on this whole time. We're going to learn tonight a little bit more detailed aspect. But you have to realize this is a global agenda. There's nefarious people behind it, and we have to wake up and listen and hopefully see that there's a better picture, bigger picture, that we're going to learn about. Yeah, I wanted to say, this is really new for me because being a witness, I never did anything political. So the research I've done, I've got so much in my head. I hope I can get it, express it in a good way. But I have a feeling a lot of witnesses are in the same boat. So we're going to go into details, and for all I know, you guys already know all this, but we're going to do it very detailed so that everybody will know. And I appreciate Jim for going back and starting at the beginning so we can put this together.
I want to pick up on that. Hang on just a second, Laurel. I got this thought in my head. I want to pick up on that thought, Lori, about the fact that we, as former Jehovah's Witnesses, we were not encouraged to know anything about politics. We weren't supposed to get involved with anything. We were told that they were evil, that they were going to go down anyway, so why even pay attention to them? So there's a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses out there and former Jehovah's Witnesses that have no clue about the political stuff. And I think that was all by design to keep the folks dumbed down. Think about it, folks. Keep them dumbed down so that they can be easily manipulated and controlled. So you might be watching this and being like, oh my God, Jimmy's done went political. Why did he go political? Or why does this even matter to me? It matters, folks. It is all one big agenda. Okay, Laurel, go ahead.
yeah, I was just going to add to that too. It does matter, and they want to keep JWs dumbed down because they're part of it. I think we've already proved that in the last programs that making the deep state and the cabal are all in the same pot together.
Yep.
And it's been going on for a very long time. Before the 1800s, but in the 1800s, for instance, Albert Pike, who was a very well-known Illuminati member, and made so many predictions, and it was all, in his book, you could look it up, and it's all the same things that they're talking about in 1958 in the clip there, but they had to go slow, right? If you let everybody know right away what's going to happen, you're going to have everybody revolting. But when you're giving people what they've been doing, giving people money, giving people credit, giving people beautiful cars, beautiful houses, and they get them all used to these things, then the people trust the government more. And
it's just like people in Watchtower, they trust the governing body. And it's the same thing. So many people out there, they just want to trust the government. They want the government to save them and take care of them. Well, that's not what a human being is. We are a free entity. and we are not supposed to be controlled by another human being. So,
and the thing is, we can go back years, and they've had the New World Order in place, but it, like you said, it wasn't until Bush came out, and he was the very first one to make it mainstream and use that term. And then now it seems like everybody's using that term. It's like it's part of the culture now.
you know what? I was just sitting here thinking, this is why I like doing sometimes I like doing live stuff. This stuff will hit me all of a sudden. So everybody knew about the New World Order behind the scenes. Bush comes out, makes it public. Okay? So no one really knew what was going on. Now everybody that was thinking about it back then, like, see, look, we told you this is what they were going to do. This is what they wanted to do. Let's compare that with Watchtower and the governing body. For years, no one knew who the anointed was. It was always kept secret. And then next thing you know, or the governing, no one really knew who the governing body members were. But now, after they've come out with their broadcast, they made themselves public. They put themselves out there. Now everybody can see it. Yeah. It's the same thing. They
laws and a wall.
Yeah, they outed themselves. So, all right, folks. So the reason why I wanted to bring that clip up is to show you that there was a plan. Now, in a game of football, you have, in any sport, you have a game plan. You and your team get together before the game is played, and y'all say, you know what, this is what we're going to do. Let's liken that to 1958. This is what we're going to do. And we're going to play this out and see how it goes. Then you get to halftime, and depending on how things went for you in the first and second quarter, you might have to revise your plans or come up with another game plan saying that you think you're winning, and you have to come up with another plan to just bury your opponent. Now, the stuff we're going to bring out is going to be kind of frustrating because you're going to be like, wow, this just sounds depressing and morbid and all that. But I will say this, there is good news. In a game of football, there's two teams playing. We're giving you one team's perspective right now. In other episodes, after we establish this stuff, we're going to bring you the plan of the second team that is playing this game. Okay, is that fair enough, folks? I hope so. So, anyway, are we ready to go into the next? I'm going to go ahead and play the next clip, Rick. So we're getting ready to talk about the 16-year plan to destroy America. So let me get this pulled up. It's on you. It's on. Rumble has an ad for like 5 seconds. All right. Come on. Come on.
Let's try it here, Jimmy. If I can get it.
I got it.
Okay.
Because the anointed one after Obama was Hillary, right? So their plan was 8 years of Obama, 8 years of Hillary, and the United States of America would no longer be a democracy. It would be a socialist country run by a group of elites, and that's essentially what they're trying to do right now.
Okay, there's that one. Hang on just a second. I'm going to play 3 clips back to back, folks. Oh, my Lord. This is why John doesn't like live stuff. Okay.
There is a globalist elite, and they are led by this organization out of the World Economic Forum, and we've played this for the better part of a year as to what these characters are up to. And so this idea to intentionally destroy something to bring it back and recreate it in their likeness and the way they want to do it. So this business about the attack on our energy, on our food, on our financial, on our election, on our education systems in our country is very real. The speed, I think, is what's boggling everybody's minds, right? It's really what's really stunning to most Americans is that it just feels like their speed is actually picked up, and there is a reason for that. The reason is because they had a blip on the screen over the last 4 years by the name of Donald J. Trump, who got in the way of a much larger plan of 8 years of Obama, 8 years of Hillary Clinton, maybe get somebody else in. But in those 16 years, that would have been the complete orientation of the experiment in democracy of the United States of America to a socialist country where all the levers of power were totally controlled by a globalist elite. I mean, today the World Health Organization, a character was on there. Tedros. Yeah, where's he at? Yeah. Yeah, Tedros, right. So he was on today talking about, this whole, this next potential pandemic that we might be seeing here this summer. I mean, these people are so obvious and it's so clear. The challenge for most Americans is that they just are not getting the information that they need because, a big part of this information, a big part of this Build Back Better is the control of the media, and the media is putting out what they want. So you got to go discover these things in shows like this and other Reawaken America tour and other places where we have these independent voices out there. And people who are X22 is another great example. I mean, these organizations, these independent voices who are trying to tell the American people, hey, folks, wake up, get involved in your country like you've never been involved before. Otherwise, we're going to lose this whole thing. These guys are not going to slow down. They are not going to suddenly wake up tomorrow morning and go, hey, everybody, we made a big mistake here. We're sorry. We're going to open up the energy markets. We're going to stop teaching CRT. We're going to fix our elections. No, they're going to continue to drive on with this agenda, and they're going to shove it down our throats. And like Carl Schwab says, and we'll be happy.
Okay, very eye-opening there, huh? Saying, again, Flynn talking about that there is this 16-year plan and that there was a blip in their plan. But we're not going to get into the blip tonight. We're just going to share the plan with you guys. So this is the last little clip on this part of the subject, and then we'll get into the meat of the information.
Can I say something?
Just
not now.
Just 1 second. Just I'll hit pause on this.
Here's an updated version.
Okay, what do you want to say? Is that caller still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, when Trump gets reelected, there's going to be, as already a new plan laid out for the Republicans, so the Democrats can go jump in the lake right now. I know it, but I'm not going to open my mouth about it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. We're going to get into some more stuff, but this evening I felt it very important to educate people on the fact of what these people's plans were. Because if you don't know what the plans were, you can be easily swayed to believe that whatever the media says is true. All right? So that's why we're doing this episode tonight, is to give you folks the 16-year plan so you can understand why things are happening the way they are right now. Because like General Flynn just said, they had a plan. And no matter how much evidence has come up against them and is getting out in public, they're not going to stop. The only way they get stopped is by we the people and the second team that's playing right now. We all work together. What we need to have is a military and civilian alliance, and that is what's taking place right now. So let me play this clip real quick, and then we'll continue on.
Version of the 16-year plan to destroy America. Remember, Obizzles from here 2008 to 2016, and hey, he accomplished all of these. Look at that. And look at this is the part Hillary was supposed to do, but Biden is doing all of them. Look at that. Open borders,
destroy, censor opposing news outlets. We've seen that all over the place. I'm surprised I'm still on YouTube. Kill economy, eliminate final good guys in government, population control, pocket billions. World War III. They're guessing that this one's going to be next, but I don't know. I think that one's going to be last. Close U.S. military bases globally. Yeah, we're out of Afghanistan, are we not? Revise Constitution. Ban the sale of firearms. Install corrupt Supreme Court justices. Remove electoral colleges. Install popular vote. They're definitely trying to do that. Limit and remove military funding. It's a different face. It's the same plan, you guys. Except now we're trying to get it done we're trying to get this 8-year plan done in 4 years. Okay, so the reason I wanted to bring that one out is because he said that they're trying to get an 8-year plan done in 4 years. Then we go back to what General Flynn said in his clip about what has boggled people's mind is the speed of how everything is going right now. Then we go back to a comment that Laurel made a little while ago, where these folks, their MO is to do things slowly and incremental so the people don't even notice. You know, the whole frog in a pot of water, temperature being raised, that's what they wanted to do. But their plan has been sped up. So we'll get into that a little bit later on why that is the case. So Laurel, or either one of you guys have a comment before we get into the 16 points? Or at least the Obama side?
Yeah, I just have one comment. Going back to before, how Watchtower doesn't get involved in politics. And then because Watchtower, we're so burdened down, and by the time people come out of Watchtower, they're so broken. And I find that most people want to go towards the liberal side of politics because it seems that it's they don't understand, because they don't understand politics. They don't understand that liberal and socialism and everything turns to communism usually. So, I mean, a lot of people, a lot of my friends I know that have come out of Watchtower think that we're absolutely nuts if we're not liberal. Like, what are you trying to do? You're trying to get yourself into more rules and so on. But it's just that they don't understand. And if you look into history, you go back to Hitler, for instance, he started out liberal. The people loved him. And I'm thinking of that with people like Obama and so on. They have to get the people to like them so that they can instigate these changes and people go along with it.
Now, Lori, you told me something in our production meeting that you were an Obama fan, correct?
I think we both were.
Not me.
Oh, I was.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I was absolutely a witness and didn't really pay attention to any presidents until Obama. And then I just started thinking, wow, he's so well liked. Maybe he's going to be the Antichrist. And but, when we talk about borders, I'm going to talk a little bit more about that.
Okay. All right, cool.
Or I can share now what I remember from the Obama administration. I'll bring it up when we get to that.
Okay. All right, that's cool. All right. So let's go ahead and get into the 16-year plan to destroy America. I'm going to focus heavily on the Obama list this evening because I really do believe that list, I can prove everything. You can go back and you can look it all up. It is legit information. Okay. This is exactly what they've done. And then also, too, keep in mind, I hope you wrote them down, the 10 things that the guy in 1958 talked about. So one of the comments that JFK made in his speech was infiltration instead of invasion. Now, why is that important? Because everyone knows that there's no country out there that can actually physically attack the United States because the defense of the United States is so strong. Plus, you got the Second Amendment, and they don't want to come on our soil. So the only way to bring down America was to infiltrate it. And so the very first, I left my daggone thing outside, but the very first one we have on the list is to install rogue operators in government. And this was the first thing that Obama was supposed to do. And he did do that. You look at all the people that were appointed by his administration, and then we can look and see what has happened with these people and where they stand. So here's just a list. I have a list right here of all these names. It's about a page and a half. Now, as I mentioned some of these names, think about what happened. For example, James Comey. He was appointed in 2013 as head of the FBI. What role did he play later? Well, when it came down to the whole Clinton server thing, he came out publicly and said, yeah, we got all this evidence, but no prosecutor is going to take this case. All right. But what? Are you serious? People were livid when he did that. And then, of course, the other people were like, yay, she's good. She didn't do anything. Okay. Just some of the installations of rogue operatives. John Kerry, appointed Secretary of State in 2013. Hillary Clinton, appointed in 2009. Leon Panetta, former Secretary of Defense, appointed 2011. Robert Gates, 2009. Chuck Hagel, 2013. Ken Salazar, Sally Jewell, Loretta Lynch, Eric Holder, Treasury Secretary Jack Lew. I'm listing off all these names that are deep state operatives that were put into place under the Obama administration. Even some on the right. Remember what we said, they don't care about right and left. So some of the deep state players on the right. Bill Priestap, 2015. Former Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper. Trump's former campaign manager, Paul Manafort. Oh, I'm sorry, Clapper he's a Democrat. I thought they were in order, but they're not. So, Senator Mitch McConnell, former Speaker Paul Ryan, Senator John McCain, he's a huge one. Senator Lindsey Graham, then Adam Schiff. So you got all these people, all these names that I've mentioned. Now, go back in time and look at their actions. Look at their patterns of what they did. Did they do what was best for we the people? Or did they do what was best for the globalist? Do your research. Answer that question for yourself. All right. So that was the first one. Install rogue operators. I got lots of information here, but anyway, let's go find number two. Number two was leak classified intelligence and military secrets. According to WikiLeaks, you know how I feel about WikiLeaks, leaked intel was received by China via Hillary Clinton's private bathroom server. Clinton used a personal email and computer to conduct official government business, which goes against government policy. It was set up with limited security, hardening, which made it vulnerable to intrusion and theft as early as March 2013. She used non-government IT staff to maintain it as well, which also goes against government policy. Germany and South Korea also had access to this server. Pakistani nationals, the AWANs, also had access to the DNC server since 2004 through 2016. The servers collected congressional information, and it was stored on servers in Pakistan. So a couple of other things about military secrets. We have I think the other one was that's a special access version. Never mind. We'll get into that one. So that is a huge controversy. And then, of course, you have a rogue operator in government, Comey, covering for Hillary Clinton. See how they work? All right, number three, cut military funding. And number four is weaken command of generals. So Laurel has these next two.
Yeah, cut military funding. I'll start with this. In July of 2015, Susan Rice, who's NSA advisor, openly admitted that $1.7 billion in cash was sent to Oh, I'm on the wrong one. Sorry. I'm on the Korea one. Okay. To cut the military funding during the Obama administration, they seriously crippled the U.S. military. According to publicized statistics by the House Armed Services Committee, published on March 22nd, 2018, the Air Force was short 2,000 pilots. Barracks were mold-ridden. The average age of Air Force planes was over 27 years old. And they had condemned hangars and contaminated water were just a few of the issues that they had going there. And also, I picked this up. And also, it's good to know that Obama is the first president ever to serve full 8 years, preside over America wars every single day of his day in office.
Wow.
There was never not a war. Well, Bin Laden was Bin Laden. When Barack Obama was in, yeah. So and it turned out that that they. I'm just going because some of these kind of go together on me. So I'm just going through another thing I have here. He reduced right from the start, reduced 570,000 soldiers to 490,000. And then the plan was if Hillary got in 2018, they were going to cut another 40,000 soldiers. And that meant that by cutting those soldiers out, they saved $7 billion. That was $7 billion saved. The Air Force was short 2,000 pilots, I said, and mold all over their barracks. And it worked out to all the places that Baraka bombed worked out to when they counted the bombs. He dropped over the 8 years of his presidency, one bomb every 20 minutes. And yet he won the Nobel Peace Prize.
Okay, I didn't know that stat.
Yep.
One every 20 minutes?
Yep. In 2016, he dropped 26,171 bombs. In the 8 years of his presidency, if you worked it all out, one bomb every 20 minutes.
Okay.
And that comes from Janet Alsgaard, you know, the one that did all the, and I trust her information, that did all the fall of the cabal.
Yes.
And that comes right from her, and she is an excellent researcher.
Yes. All right. So, folks, number 3 on the list is cut military funding. And so, with everything that Laurel just explained, it looks like he was just trying to get rid of all of our weapons and bombs, just get rid of them by using them, and then cutting our military down. Okay, all this plays together. All this ties together. But I just had a thought. One of the things that the deep state globalists, they like to do, they like to have war. All right. So if Obama, while he was in office, not a day went by to where there wasn't a war going on, what does that tell you? All right. Number 4.
Warmonger.
Yeah.
Number 4 is how he weakened the generals. And so during the Obama administration, it was the don't ask, don't tell policy was replaced. Transgenders were allowed in. Women in combat was pushed. This created a weakened military. I mean, we can whether you're a feminist or not, we can all agree that in combat, women are never going to be as strong as men. Just like in sports, women are not going to be as strong as men. So by him getting women in, apparently way more in comparison, way more women have died in the line of duty. And also,
can I pick up on something real quick on that?
Sure.
Another thing, folks, remember, one of the things that the deep state likes to do, one of their goals is depopulation.
Mm-hmm.
So if you put women in the military and on the front lines, guess what they can't do anymore if something happens to them? All right, go ahead, Laurel.
Yeah. Well, I'll just add to that without reading my notes too. Look what China's doing. The CPP China right now is, they're more giving steroids to testosterone to their men. They're trying to make their men really strong because they see a weakened American military, and this is what's happened. The weaker you get them, the weaker the military gets, and the more feminized the men get. You get transgender, you get women in there, you get all that happening. Then they can just come in and they can work everybody out because their men are getting stronger, our men are getting weaker.
Correct.
So, anyways, in 2017, the new president, or not, so anyways, President Trump imposed a high tariff on Chinese steel and aluminum. And I never understood that at the time. I remember that happening. And the reason that he put that tariff on, he put the tariff on for both the Chinese and the Russians. And it just makes sense because if you've got military steel to build your weapons, it has to be the best grade you could get. So by letting your enemies supply your steel and your aluminum for your weapons, you don't know what they're doing or what kind of grade they're making it. And if they're your enemies, they're sure not going to make it as good as what they have because they want you to lose, right?
Exactly.
So, and then on top, so I'll just read you this. So it was a number. Okay, so it says, what if the steel used for military grade projects was made inferior to our enemies as a method to weaken? What if Obama knew and authorized his every president, I don't know if everybody's aware of this, but every president that's ever been, they all have a nickname. Hillary was called, her nickname was Evergreen. Obama's is Renegade. Clinton, Bill Clinton was Iron Eagle, something like that. They all had nicknames. So it says here, Renegade. How many Marines volunteered to serve Obama during this term? Why? What if he organized the deal? The U.S. taxpayers subsidize the world. America has sold to the highest bidder. America has been weakened on purpose. The depths of their treason is unimaginable, pure evil. And then it goes on to say that since 2013, Obama fired 9 of the top generals, the very top generals. It doesn't really list their names. But that doesn't even include the long list of military personnel that he had fired before 2013 as well. Absolutely.
And another thing was during the war in Syria, when ISIS was doing what they were doing over there, Obama stripped the command of the generals away from them, and he was the one calling the shots. So you had guys on the ground that were actually there every day. They couldn't do anything because Mr. Obama, Mr. Renegade, look up the definition of renegade, folks. He centralized that power. And so they were in control of what was going on over there. There's a whole story behind that as well. Okay, so let's go on to thank you, Laurel, for that. I appreciate that. Let's go on to number 5, kill NASA, space supremacy, and EMP risk. And Lori has that one.
NASA wasn't talked a lot about during Obama. It was kind of quiet, but there was still stuff going on. NASA was cut, and Elon Musk SpaceX replaced it. Now we have to ask ourselves, is the CIA and Mossad behind SpaceX? Anyway, during the Obama administration, Elon Musk got a lot of government subsidies and pushed the cabal agenda. They say his SpaceX had a poor performance during that time, and there was missing cargo. The thing that I see that they really cut back on was the missile technology that was shared with the U.S. military. And that stopped them from really getting, protecting us from the vulnerabilities to electromagnetic pulses. Like we hear so much about 5G and all that now, and they stopped, working on that or helping prevent, keeping it from being a risk. I guess time will tell on that. Musk received millions in government subsidies so that he could push the cabal agenda, which is a nuclear missile club K and human drugs gun trafficking ship scheme paid for with taxpayer funding and created through Hillary's Uranium One deal with Iran, Russia, and North Korea. So, Elon Musk is kind of a controversial guy right now, huh? We don't know if he's a good guy or a bad guy or on both sides.
Yeah, I think he's a gray hat.
He's great, yeah. So it says there's also a threat to launch. Let's see. Let me go back here a second. They used Musk, Tesla, Cal Solar, and SpaceX connections to launch nuclear missiles from their armada of container ships to keep people in line and to keep control of politics, world leaders, and intelligence agencies. There's also a threat to launch them at the sun and create a catastrophic CME flare if anyone wants to bring up the truth of their schemes to humanity. So there's a lot of, you can't say, there's probably a lot even amongst them or the people that are in the know are afraid to say anything. You say anything and you get taken out. We'll find out more people that got taken out as we go through this.
Now, out of the 13 or 14 points on the Obama side, this was the one thing that he really didn't get to accomplish. That he didn't really accomplish what he wanted to do or what he was told to do on this list. But one thing I want to bring out is the fact where you had talked about that there would be the EMP risk and CME flares from the sun. Well, what did we hear in the news today? Why they're always talking about solar flares getting ready to hit the earth?
Yeah.
And then they talk about it affecting the grid and affecting communications. So are they pre-programming the people to think that when if it goes down, or if we lose communications, that it was not us or no nefarious agenda, it was just the sun and the solar flares? You see how they operate, folks?
I think this was back then, but I think this is what we're seeing come to fruition right now. I think they are messing with this big time.
Yeah. Well, and it goes back to the whole, and remember, this is why we're doing this, because the 16-year plan was supposed to end in 2024. But in 2016, there was a disruption. Now, we'll explain that later. But what we're seeing now is the current administration and current world leaders all pushing different agendas to go back to the 16-year plan. And that's why people see so much crap. Like, man, did you hear about this? Did you hear about that? Oh my God, the world's been gone crazy. It's all been planned, folks. They've been pushed, the deep state has been pushed in a corner, and they're panicking. Just like Watchtower. Watchtower is in full panic mode as well. Why? Well, Watchtower is part of them. So it would just make sense why they would be panicking right now.
I hope people can make that connection, because it's not a coincidence of timing that all of a sudden Watchtower is panicking at the exact same time, you know, the world is.
Exactly.
And at the same time as the Vatican is. I mean, I just got a message the other day. We've all know about the Watchtower letter. As of September 1st, they wanted all their money back from every Kingdom Hall. They wanted everybody to send back their monies and to the society, and they'll pay the bills. Well, the Vatican's just done the same thing. Only thing is they gave their people until September 30th, but they've done the exact same thing. They just send all your money. We want all the money in the Vatican bank.
Yep.
And Watchtower actually did that, you know, a few years ago, and now they want them to close their bank accounts.
Yeah.
They already got all their money, so now they want to close out all their accounts.
And folks, I think this has to go back to one of the executive orders 13848, which we'll talk about that later too. So I think that's the reason why all that's happening.
And that's why,
and people are like, "What's executive order 18348?" Look it up, folks. We'll talk about it.
And folks, this sounds bad, but stick with us. We are going to have really good news eventually.
Yes.
We're bringing out the bad news first, so you have something to look forward to.
And plus, you need to know what's going on. You have to walk through the darkness of the woods to get to the light. All right? It'll all make sense. Trust me. All right. So number 6, remove good guys from government and law, meaning judges and things like that. So Valerie Jarrett, a progressive Marxist extremist, was used as a sniffer, according to Webster. A dog that is trained to recognize and follow scents, especially for the purpose of locating people or contraband. Jarrett is in charge of the trigger on the ship missile system that Lori talked about. And she uses a phone to direct messages, John Brennan, regarding the warhead missile, ship placement, and the marker. She is Iranian, and her father was a Soviet spy, and her father-in-law, Vernon Jarrett, was also connected to Dr. Khalid al-Mansour, representing the Saudi royals. Vernon was also a political associate of the Communist Party USA and Obama mentor. Her uncle and grandfather were also leftists and have Islamic connections. Okay, so why is this important? Why am I mentioning Valerie Jarrett? Well, she was the one responsible for rooting out the good guys that were in government and wanting to get rid of them. So one thing we do know, that there was 197 uniformed officers that were released under the Obama administration. And they were released for stupid things, leaving a door open, not wanting to listen to their command. I mean, there was a number of reasons that they made up on why they got rid of these people. And so when you talk about removing good guys from government, yes, they did that. They removed people from the military and the law. Now, let's look at that. The police. Remember when Obama said that the police acted stupidly? Remember him saying that?
Yeah.
There was a reason why he said that. Again, putting it in the minds of the people that the police were bad. So the first thing that, you have a dilution of your citizen voice, dilution of a citizen vote, dilution of national independence. Police turned against its own citizens. Citizens turned against its own police. People versus people equals a controlled military. Prevent mass awareness if the news doesn't report the facts. How do people get informed in order to be heard? Silence the people, localize disruption, target the leaders of disruption, deploy scare tactics, and political crosstalk control the volume. The media no longer represents the will of the people. So what did we see in 2020? Summer of 2020. We saw all those riots. And the police, we had the defunding of the police. This all started under the Obama administration to remove the good guys from the government and from our law enforcement. And there's been so many police officers across this country who have quit because they see what's going on. And it used to be
suicide. There's been so many suicides.
Yes. And it used to be a time in this country where we looked up to the police. We respected them. And the globalists knew this. So what do they got to do? They got to do stuff that demonizes them and get the people to fight against them. Remember, divide and conquer. All right, number 7, special access program sell-off. All right, this one can get a little deep and it's a little hard to understand, but I'll try to make it simple. Hillary Clinton, mind you, was the Secretary of State under the Obama administration. Hillary Clinton purposely used outside servers in a shadow IT, Brian Pagliano, and possible others who did not have clearance to leak special access program information out. Using her personal email also allowed her to avoid any FOIA request since she wasn't using an official government email. One thing I want to say about the FOIA thing, when people went to go look, I'm going on a tangent here, but when people went to go look up James Comey in the FOIA Acts, you know they couldn't find Comey. You know why?
A different name?
They spelled it corny.
Oh, you're kidding.
So
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So if you went in to do a FOIA request on James Comey, you'd find nothing because they spelled it corny. Because it looks like Comey.
Good name.
This is how they hide stuff, folks.
How convenient.
Yeah. So anyway, I digress. Okay, go back. So Obama knew about the servers and he condoned it. Yeah, I'm sure he did. Special access programs are the most clandestine activities and are designated above top secret, and any emails had foreign classified information on them, meaning that they were classified from the start. IG reports showed some emails on the servers were there as early as 2009. The IG report also modified and redacted by Rod Rosenstein, which left out additional classified information. Trump's attempt to declassify an original unredacted report were met with the cabal. Deep state threat of ship missile threats and could not be released. So a lot of people say, well, why couldn't Trump just release all this information and get, well, you know, the deep state, they had dirty bombs all over the place. You saw what they did in 9/11, right? You saw what they've done across the world with different events that they've done that have killed a lot of people. So yeah, this is why it affects everybody. So when asked to produce the email evidence, Hillary Clinton deleted approximately 30 to 60,000 emails, and her servers were wiped clean, showing intent to deceive. The classified information leak did irreparable damage to national security, since some contained information on the drone program and also had names of CIA, NSA, and other intelligence officers in them. The Comey FBI report, altered by Peter Strzok on the matter, downplayed the incident from gross negligence to extremely careless helping to cover up her crimes. So Clinton was also allowing political access for donations to her Clinton Foundation, known as Pay for Play. The Clinton Foundation has also been accused of money laundering in the past. Also, Romanian Marcel Lehil Lazar, aka Guccifer, was able to hack into Sidney Blumenthal's AOL account that showed correspondence to Hillary Clinton as early as March 2013. There appears to be a history of allowing access to information. The State Department was also used for spying for the Clintons, and according to WikiLeaks, diplomatic cables were released in 2010 outlining the spying on foreign diplomats, including the UN. That information was also stored on her bathroom server. So that's what she was doing. You're going to hear some more stuff come up about uranium-1. That's a whole nother thing. You're going to hear about some crimes that were committed in Haiti that involved the Clintons as well. All right. What were we doing on time? 1:20. Okay. All right. Number 8, weaken the NSA and reveal programs. Laurel?
Yep, got that one. Okay, so I'll just go through some of this. In 2013, CIA, Mossad agent Edward Snowden purposely leaked NSA spy programs. DARPA, PRISM, IQT, Keyscore, to weaken the NSA because the NSA had dirt on all the political corruption, human trafficking in DC, including the leaking of classified information to China from Hillary Clinton and the Obama administration. He fled to China and then ultimately Russia to wait out the rest of the operation. The plan was for her to win the election so CIA Director John Brennan could bring Snowden home. They never thought Hillary would lose, but she did. And CIA Director Gina Haspel replaced Brennan. Snowden went to Russia and provided the NSA source code to shadow brokers located there. Shadow brokers are Russian. They leaked the actual code on a Twitter account called the Shadow Brokers. And Kaspersky Lab, who also has KGB ties through owner Eugene Kaspersky, strengthened the NSA connection further after the incident. This lab was the security firm that discovered the Red October malware campaign in 2013. This is a multi-year cyber espionage campaign created by Chinese and Russian operatives that targets computers, phones, and government agencies, embassies, nuclear research centers, and the military. And just before, on the Thursday before Obama left registration, he announced brand new rules that let the NSA share vast amounts of private data gathered without warrant, court orders, or congregational authorization with 16 other agencies, including the FBI, the Drug Enforcement Agency, and the Department of Homeland Security. So basically all the letter agencies violated everybody's civil liberty rights by illegally spying and failing to delete any of the unauthorized intercepts.
Yep. Any comment, Lori? No? I think she pretty much summed that up. Yeah, so weaken the NSA and reveal the programs. This was a way for them to have the trust of the people. It was the NSA was set on. Sorry, y'all. I just lost my train of thought completely. Completely. The thing with Edward Snowden is a lot of people thought he was a patriot. They thought that they were doing something good by exposing this, but basically not. It wasn't a good thing for this to go out because it did harm national security secrets and things that needed to be kept private. But not only did it affect our military, law enforcement, but like Laurel said, it affected our rights as American citizens as well. So, number 9, target and weaken the conservative base. Lori?
So this is long, and due to time, I'm going to just highlight the points.
That's fine.
Obama, what he did, I want you to listen to these core principles of a conservative, and then this is what he did to weaken them. The core principles are individual freedom, limited government, rule of law, peace through strength, free markets, and human dignity. So those sound like okay things, but this is his plan was to weaken all those kinds of things. We all know about big, media. So 5 corporations own 90% of the media. In the 80s, it was over 50 companies owned them. Now it's just 5.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and we're talking AT&T, Xfinity, Disney, News Corp, and National Amusements. All of these, except for National Amusements, is owned by BlackRock and Vanguard by majority shares. The shareholders include the elites Orsini's, the Bushes, the DuPonts, the Morgans, the Vanderbilts, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the Wallenbergs, and the British royal family. And then Vanguard is the largest shareholder of BlackRock. So all of this controlling the media controls the population. I know I'm not going to stick on this because we've been through this a lot about the media being in control.
Yeah.
But if you remember back to Obama's time, this is when social media really started getting big. Social media and big tech under the control of CCP, CIA, and Mossad. I remember this project they had called LifeLog. It was a project from DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, which is under the U.S. Department of Defense, that captured the flow of one's personal experiences and interactions and makes them accessible using artificial intelligence. In a news report, it stated that LifeLog was the digital diary of all diaries, the digital recorder of everywhere you go, everything you see, everything you hear, everything you read, everything you say, and everything you touch. Now, what's interesting is this program supposedly was stopped the day before Facebook went live.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then that's when social media and big tech, they, through Google, Twitter, YouTube, all on an Amazon cloud contract, and you have the makings of a massive surveillance system. Now, this I found really interesting. Embedded are these unremovable programs on Apple and Android devices, and the deep state can capture anything, anywhere. You all seen those on your phones, right? Like, yeah. Sometimes I'll be like, "What is that? I'm going to get rid of it." I'll uninstall it, and it says, "Nope, it comes part with your phone." Okay, here's another connection I wanted to. Just like we know Fauci is his wife is the head of the NIH, and he's they're all combined. This is really interesting. Mark Zuckerberg's wife is a Chinese national. Google's founder, Sergey Brin, was married to 23andMe's founder. Do you remember that company, 23andMe? It's like
Yep.
A DNA genetics company. Her name is Annie Wojcicki. Well, she has a sister named Susan Wojcicki, and she's the CEO of YouTube.
Yep.
Then when Facebook is being investigated for insider trading by the Security and Exchange Commission, well, the director of the Division of Enforcement for the SEC is Melissa Hodgman. And she is the wife of the District Attorney Director of FBI, Peter Strzok.
Yeah.
I mean, It's one little area just in social media, how they're all connected, you know?
Yeah, it's the same players. It's the same players and everything. And this is what folks I don't think realize is, yeah, Facebook's all fun and we all use it, but we're all complicit in giving all of our information to the government. We made their job so much easier. But the good thing is it's turning against them right now because of voices like ours and many others. And that's why you see censorship. So we are right now using the weapon that they wanted to use on the people against them. Kind of like Watchtower. You know, we were taught public speaking skills and how to research and how to do this. And we've turned it around and are using it against them, which I think that's kind of cool. So, but yeah, those connections are crazy, aren't they?
Totally crazy.
Yeah. And when you think too that everybody thinks that Zuckerberg was the creator of Facebook, and he was just this college kid that started Facebook, and he's so brilliant and everything. All of social media was created by the CIA.
Yes.
And it's all created by the CIA, and one day we'll go into who he's related to too.
Oh yeah,
Right.
absolutely. So going,
you know, Obama brought in the cancer culture. There was the whole IRS scandal, you know, where they were targeting anybody in the Tea Party or Patriot for trying to apply for a tax exempt status through the organizations. That all happened under Obama's watch, and the IRS finally apologized and admitted that they were targeting conservatives.
Yep.
Even have a specific Be on the Lookout Bolo program where they targeted them. And that, you know, fast forward to today, I think True the Vote is still still fighting that, but there have been several wins in court where the IRS has had to pay out and admit that they had this program, and that was all done by Obama.
yeah, and the thing is too, you know, they used the IRS to target the conservatives back in 2012, and they've always done that. And one thing you got to remember about these folks is their playbook doesn't change. They use the same playbook. This is why when we say we know their playbook, what happened this week with Mr. Sippy Cup himself up on stage addressing the American public? And what was he doing? He was he was being divisive. He was attacking American citizens verbally. So their playbook hasn't changed. So why would they do that? Again, they're panicked. They're scared. This is what they do. Is that all you had on that one, Lori?
Pretty much.
All right. You want to go ahead and go into number 10? Relax. We're at 1:41 seconds. So we might have to speed it up just a little bit. Relax borders and flood illegals, number 10.
We know where we're at now with borders, but he was implementing, relaxing them. And I don't know if do you want to go into, I think it's important that we know who MS-13 is. This is where I was going to say when I was a witness, this is what I heard about during Obama's administration was these terrible drug cartel and MS-13 and ISIS terrorists. That's what was coming into the country. It wasn't open like now where families were flooding in, but they were flooding in, and they have, I was going to just try and find a couple where they have specific cities where they have their like headquarters. Let's see.
Well, and also too, funding for the MS-13 comes from Bill and Melinda Gates through their CARE Foundation.
Right, and MS-14 is funded by George Soros Society Foundation through the SPLC.
Yeah, so when you see on the media all these caravans coming to the border right now, of course there was a huge surge during the Obama administration. But look at it now. They're showing up after traveling 1,000 miles, walking 1,000 miles. They don't look tired. Their shoes aren't worn out.
They got cell phones.
Big cell phones, nice backpacks.
No blisters.
Yeah, how did they get there? Somebody's funding that, and it all goes back to, one of the points on the 16-year plan for Obama. And it's supposed
You have to ask yourself, who are the migrants, or what are the migrants? Why are they so important to them? There's a lot of questions, and we're going to get into on another show about the human trafficking and all that.
Yeah. So another thing that a lot of people don't really think about too is one of the reasons why the deep state globalists want to bring in all these migrants. Sorry, I'm looking for the notes too as well. Is because, or why they want to flood in the illegals, is because they use them to help cheat in elections. Because if you bring all these people in and you give them free health care, free shelter, cell phones, all this stuff, you're buying their vote. And they're not knowledgeable enough about the American. They just know somebody gave them a free cell phone. Yeah, someone vote for that guy. So this is what they've been doing. And when they pull them in this way, they pull all these illegals in, then they infiltrate the Republican states and Republican territories to kind of turn that state blue. This is what they do. California used to be red all the time. I think. Fact check me on that.
I think
but
so.
It used to be red as far as I knew. But then you had all the illegals coming in and everything and just giving them special privileges. The next thing you know, it's gone blue. That's what they've done. And I can see it here in North Carolina, the influx. Actually, there's a new facility for migrant children. They say it's migrant children in Greensboro, like 25 miles away. I'm eventually going to go visit and see if I can't get some access there and see what I can find. So that'd be kind of fun. All right. Anyway, hour 45. Okay.
I was going to just share a little bit about the MS-13 gang members. They can be hired as hitmen. The Mexican Sinaloa Federation cartel has members working as foot soldiers in the U.S. One group operates in Los Angeles and in St. Paul, Minnesota. They have a large presence in New York, Southern California, Washington, D.C., and Northern Virginia, and in 46 states with around 50,000 members, and they're also international. They are considered tier 1 level threat in Texas. That's the highest level threat there is. If anybody can't see how an open border is an evil agenda behind it, when this is what is coming through, I just don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Well, you just have to look at some of the videos now of some of the people coming through Texas and Arizona borders. And it used to be families. I mean, there used to be a few families from Mexico, or even when they were trafficking children. And I'm sure they're still doing that. But most of what's coming through now are able-bodied, big men, full of tattoos. And I mean, they're getting ready. They're getting ready to be tough, I guess.
Yeah, they're part of the foot soldiers. And it's just like what we saw in Afghanistan. You had people that were being transported out of Afghanistan, but it wasn't American citizens. There were some Afghani nationals in there. And were these Afghani nationals part of the foot soldiers for the deep state over in Afghanistan? And now they're getting their people out, and leaving American citizens there. So yeah, folks, there's a lot more to this stuff. So, all right, due to time, we're at an hour and 47 minutes. Let me just mention the other two, the other points we were on. Number 11 was fund the terrorism, which would mean fund MS-13, which we touched on that. and fund ISIS. Now, that is the whole thing with ISIS is, yes, the Obama administration, with the help of Lindsey Graham and John McCain, they were the ones responsible for funding ISIS. I've got more information on that, but due to time, we'll have to maybe get into that later. The next one was nuclearized North Korea and Iran. Now, everyone knows that, if you got to have a boogeyman, like Watchtower, they got to have a boogeyman. So people will be like, no, we hate that person. Well, that's what the deep state was doing with North Korea and Iran. And Laurel, you had a little bit on this, right?
Yeah, it's really short. I can just read that. It's just in July of 2015, Susan Rice, she's NSA advisor, openly admitted that 1.7 billion in cash was sent to Iran to help finance terrorism and to help North Korea to develop better weapons. Obama's Iran deal is funding Al-Qaeda, Iran, and North Korea nukes.
Yeah. And it's funny that when Mr. Trump went over there to make peace with Kim Jong-un in North Korea, the media lost their mind, didn't they? They flipped out that he went over there. Now we can see why, because North Korea was going to be set up, and Iran were both going to be set up as proxy states for the globalists so they can run their operations out of there. All right, that was 12, right? North Korea, yeah, that was number 12. Number 13 was stage the Supreme Court. Laura, you want to cover that just real briefly?
It goes into, we see a lot going on now with the Supreme Court justices, but they were going to try and make the, instead of 9 justices, they were going to try and raise it to 13. But that hasn't happened. I'll just give you a brief, I'm going to read this one paragraph because it kind of links how the justice system works or doesn't work. CIA Director John Brennan and Peter Strzok used an intelligence community assessment, ICA, with the dossier added to it, while Strzok's wife, Melissa Hodgman, was hiding Hillary's email evidence. Hiding Hillary's evidence was also the reason of former President Bill Clinton and Attorney General Loretta Lynch's tarmac meeting in June of 2016. As an exchange, they promised a Supreme Court appointment once Justice Ginsburg stepped down. That's how it works. They always thought they would be safe having their nuclear missile ship armada to protect them. They murdered Anthony Scalia in February 2016 to maintain control of the Supreme Court, and Bill Clinton promised AG Loretta Lynch on the tarmac in June of 2016 a position on the Supreme Court. In return, Lynch was supposed to look the other way at any of Hillary's email server evidence, which she did. Hillary then appoints Justice Sonia Sotomayor to replace Scalia. I probably pronounced that wrong, but and advises Lynch the plan is for her to replace Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Justice Anthony Kennedy was shown evidence of this and was forced to step down under threat of missiles or death.
Wow. Yeah. So
it's just corrupt.
Yeah.
Corruption.
All right. So what was I going to say on the Supreme Court? Yeah, you covered it, the whole meeting on the tarmac to give Loretta Lynch, promise her position. And see, the reason why Bill Clinton was in that is because, well, what did we say in the beginning of the episode? Bill Clinton was a secret protege of the CIA, George Bush Sr. So as Sr. failed in health over the years, Clinton kind of took over the spot, therefore bringing the Clintons into the picture and behind a lot of this stuff. Okay, so just to recap, a minute and 52, or an hour and 52. At first, I didn't know if we were going to have enough information. I I didn't think we had enough information to cover 2 hours, but daggone, we could actually probably do another episode and cover the Hillary side. We'll talk about that in a production meeting, see what y'all want to do. But let's recap the things that were supposed to be done under the Obama administration. Install rogue operatives in the government. We can put a check beside that. Remove good guys from government. Check. Fund terrorism, MS-13 and ISIS. Check. Leak classified intel military secrets. Check. Special access program sell-off. Check. Nuclearize, fund, and supply North Korea and Iran. Check. Weaken the NSA and reveal their programs. Check. Cut military funding. Check. Weaken the command of the generals. Check. Target weaken the conservative base. Check. Stage court. Check. Relax borders and flood the illegals. Check. And kill NASA, which he didn't really get to do that, but he created some issues for NASA. So those were that was his list. And as we've proven, and you can go look it all up, that's what he did. Now, there was supposed to be Hillary coming in 2016 to finish it off. And now that I'm thinking about it, we probably need to do an episode to talk about the Hillary stuff. That's how this works. We were thinking about doing human trafficking and DUMBs next, but we might need to go into this so we can explain this plan. But let me share with you guys one last video for this evening before we finish up. And this comes from a rabbi. I'm not sure of his name. If they give me a name, rabbi dropping truth bombs. Let me play this for you guys and listen very carefully. I'll use this to finish up the show tonight.
Every government in the world has a secret government behind it that run the show. If you think that the president, the prime minister, you think they're doing it, they're puppets. 100% puppets. They control armies, nations, governments, all the money in the world, all the richest families in the world, Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. And I can tell you already one thing, that anyone that somehow made money within a very short span of time has to be part of it. And you think that Mike Zuckerberg owns Facebook? He's a puppet. Facebook was created for their manipulation. Same thing with YouTube. Same thing with WhatsApp and Instagram and Netflix and everything. How did Netflix become so big within years? Only with the power of the ultimate endless money of the world. And it's much more than that. World War I was designed by them. World War II, designed by them. Federal Reserve, which people think belongs to the American government. Doesn't belong to the government even. It's a private organization. NASA, CIA, the assassination of JFK, who was the first one who ever talked about it, got a bullet in his head. Needless to say, the attack on the Twin Towers, it wasn't Bin Laden. It was all one big agenda because they needed to go to Afghanistan. You know why? To put pipes in the sea. It's all one big show. We're being fooled, and millions of Americans are cheering. We're going to a war against terror. No, you've been fooled. And you think it's different in Israel? You know that Israel was built by the Freemasons, by the way, by the Zionists. There's nothing here kosher. Who approved? Who approved the Declaration of Israel? The United Nations, of course. An organization of peace and unity, and we love all. It's a terror organization built by the New World Order. And they approved the Declaration of Eretz Israel. All the founders of the country of Israel are Freemasons.
So, wasn't that one fun? I like that guy's candor. I don't know who he is. But anyway. All right, folks. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this evening's episode. I know it went a little deep. Please go back, rewatch it. If you took notes, please go back and do research. And if you found anything that we said that's misleading or wrong, please reach out to us and let us know, and we will correct that live on our next episode. But Lori, you ladies have any final comments for tonight's episode?
It would be really helpful if people left comments for us. We go back and we read everything and respond to them. We'd really like to know what you guys are wanting to see next. Enjoy the political aspect, being the climate we're in right now and how hot it is and what's getting ready to happen in the net, it's pretty exciting right now.
Yeah.
So, you like that, or we just like you to drop it in the comments, let us know what you guys like. And we still want to tie everything to Watchtower. We're still on the same path.
Yes. Laurel?
I agree. I really have nothing else to add.
Yeah, we really want to make this show very informative for folks. So when I put a post out on the Facebook group for the Big Picture, and I ask you, hey, what are you guys interested in? I conducted a poll this week, and one of the things on there was the 16-year plan. And the majority of the votes came in and said they wanted to know about the 16-year plan. Now, like I said, this evening, we just discussed Obama's side. I'm really thinking we need to discuss the Hillary side. I was thinking about taking a week off, Rick, but I think we might be able to pull that off and not have to do a bunch of research on that because it's just going over that information. So I'll talk with the team and see. Right now, I would be all for it if the girls are too. But the reason why we're doing this is so you folks can get an idea of what this puzzle looks like and see behind the curtains what's been done. And the bag of goods that the people have been sold is full of crap. And so, but like I said before, there's another team playing. They have a plan as well. And there's a reason why you see everything you see right now happening in this world and inside Watchtower. And we're going to help you figure out what that is. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in. If you like the information this evening, like the video, share, get this information out. This is information people need to know. Like JFK was saying, we need help getting this information out. So thank you again for everybody that supports the Big Picture. We appreciate you. We love you. And we wish nothing but love and happiness for your family. So thank you for being with us. Rick?
Well, Jimmy, I want to say I really appreciate the work that you guys put into the program. Laurie and Laurel, they're wonderful. They do a lot of research, and I want to pat them on the back and tell them thank you very much for sharing. And Jimmy, yourself, you're doing a great job. Lots of people coming in tonight. We had a lot of people on our radio network that were listening in. And you're doing good. Keep up the good work, and don't you guys ever give in, up or out. And we're getting lots more people, new people that are listening in. Check out the chat when you can. So, Jimmy, thank you very much. And we're now going to another program. We're going to end this YouTube broadcast, but don't go too far because we got another program coming up on the 6 screens after the storm with our good girl, Gail and DeLon out of Houston, Texas. Thank you very much, Jimmy. And the girls.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, team.
All right.
Bye. See you guys.
Bye-bye now. Well, there you go.
Okay, everyone. I hope you really enjoyed the replay of episode 7, the 16-year plan to destroy America, part 1. I really do appreciate everyone who watched this episode this evening. Thank you so much. Once this video processes on YouTube, I will put a link to our Bitchute channel, the Big Picture. We do have all of our episodes. We've done 9 so far for the Big Picture. I still got to get episode 1 up. So like I said in the beginning of the video, I will be putting that up either tomorrow or Thursday. I'll do another live like I did tonight, so that way I have access to the file. I've also added 3 roundtable episodes to the Big Picture channel. One is me, Deasis, and John talking about our COVID stories. We talk about questions that need answers. and we also talk about the Great Reset. Now, if you do watch the Great Reset episode, please, bring bring a pencil and some paper to that one, because that one is another one where we go into a deep dive. I actually have a binder of information for that episode. So again, thank y'all so much. I send love to each and every one of you. And stay tuned. We've got more information to bring to the public and to help folks learn how to critically think in this world that we're living in. So thank you again so much. Take care. Love you all.